All right, everybody. How are we doing on this Tuesday? It's Heidi Fang here, your Vegas Nation podcast host. And normally I would start one of these off really cheery. I would be like, hey guys, fired up. Gator Nation, let's talk some football. Today's a little different. Just minutes ago, we heard the news that Rodney Hudson, all pro center, has been released by the Raiders. Now, this news coming from Ian Rappaport at Rapsheet on Twitter. Seen it other places as well since his initial tweet. So I have to get into the news here on that. I mean, this is a big deal. He is the heart of not just the offensive line, but I think the heart of this Raiders team. He's somebody who's had so much experience, somebody who definitely helps to rally the guys around him, that is someone who's very stand up. I can't say enough good things about Rodney Hudson and his leadership and who he was on this team for the Raiders. To see that he has been released is just right now mind-boggling. I'm still trying to find the right words to say, so I don't have them. So I'm going to leave it to you, Raider Nation. Send me your comments, send me your questions while I am here on this Tuesday about Rodney Hudson. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you are upset. I want to hear it. I want to hear it all, and we're going to be here together. This is therapy hour. So stay here with me, Heidi Fang. We're going to talk all about Rodney Hudson. But until I get some comments here on this feed, I'm going to go ahead and read down some things that I did get on Yannick Ngakoue. The Raiders just brought in the defensive end on a 2-year deal, reportedly, and he's agreed to terms with them. So the Raiders with Yannick Ngakoue. Let's start there. Something positive, something that we know that they needed, the defensive end. This means a lot of things, I think, for this line. And one of those things is we saw him with Gus Bradley. So we know that with the Jaguars, that Yannick Ngakoue was a force. And then we saw what happened when he didn't want to be there anymore. He gets moved to the Vikings, and then he doesn't produce there. So after that point, you look at what happened with the Vikings. They sent him to the Ravens, and now he's a Raider. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adjusts to playing for his fourth team in under 7 months. That's something that I don't think it'll be a huge adjustment for him, especially being that he's had a foundation under Gus Bradley. But I wanted to get into some of your comments, some of the things that people have said to me about Yannick Ngakoue coming to the Raiders. So one of them says it's definitely like having Christmas twice. Pelek Chan says it's a decent move if he pans out. Two Sanchez 24 says, I think we're finally going to get some pressure on the QB. Can't wait to see how Yannick, Crosby, and Nassib work together. But one of the names I want to get into is Cleve Farrell, because somebody here had said they wonder how that'll work out for Cleve Farrell with the addition. So I think that means that we're going to see more of Cleve Farrell on the inside. And I think that he's more suited to that from what we've seen so far. It looks like in the NFL level that, Cleve Farrell hasn't been the pass rusher that they wanted. And not necessarily that he wasn't even a pass rusher. was that I don't think he was getting the pressure there that they wanted. So moving him to the inside, it gives them a lot of opportunity to really develop Cleve Farrell under their system and work with different pieces on the defensive line. So that's something I know that they're looking for and hoping to do. And I'm going to go back. Still no questions from the masses here on what happened with Rodney Hudson. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on it. I think that something that they can do is definitely grow with Andre James. He's been there for the Raiders. He's been a very versatile piece on the offensive line. And I think this is an offensive line that's looking for a lot of versatility. So it's going to be good to have somebody like him that can come up, someone that's young, someone that can defend against some of the beasts that might be coming Derek Carr's way. However, I mean, he's no it's gonna be so hard to fill that hole of not having Rodney Hudson there. That I cannot deny. But it for him stepping up to the challenge will be interesting to see. There's another possibility here, aside from Andre James, that being Kyle Long. Now, he played with the Bears and most of his the I believe the duration of his career, and that career having ended in 2019. So it has been a couple years since we've seen Kyle Long on the field. It'll be interesting to see if the Raiders do work out something with them and where they might work out that deal with him and how. As I've heard, I just spoke with Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. He was on my podcast a bit ago. That was still in editing phases, and I may even get Big Vic Tafur to come on and join me there to talk a little more about what happened with Rodney Hudson on that podcast, but it'll be out tomorrow. So I'll put any disclaimers on that now that if anything changes from now till tomorrow, which a lot could happen minute by minute here. But yeah, so definitely looking at the offensive line, I think initially my thoughts were the Raiders were going to go into the draft and have to find a defensive piece. Now my thoughts are going with the Raiders are going to have to go into the draft and get an offensive piece. There are a lot of offensive tackles in this draft. We know they traded Trent Brown. Obviously, Richie Incognito's been released at guard, and then you have to figure out what they do with Denzel Good, how much they bring him on for with his contract. Is Gabe Jackson released? Rodney Hudson's gone. This is going to be huge for figuring out what the Raiders need to do with this offensive line and how they do it. So I have a question here from Matt Hawks. Hey, you live in Vegas? Yes, I do. This is Las Vegas. Can't you tell? I got all the things here. Vegas, Vegas born. Anyway, uh, yeah. So I am in Vegas. I am based here. I did a lot of work at the Henderson facility last year, and with the team, traveled with the Raiders as much as we could during the pandemic, and also I'm at the facility day to day to day to day, every day, all the time, whenever I have the opportunity to be there. So the Raiders actually halted having people in the facility right around the time of Thanksgiving. But there's still an opportunity that maybe we'll get back there in the coming year. So looking forward to being able to do that. Yeah, Sebastian Hudson has been cut. Why is Gruden going crazy? I think I wasn't anticipating at all. I can't even pretend that I was anticipating that Rodney Hudson would be cut from this team. But my guess is that they're trying to free up some money. He's definitely a costly piece on the offensive line. As I said a little bit ago, maybe that means Andre James comes into that role. Maybe it means they are actually working out something with Kyle Long and we'll move him to center. So I'm not exactly sure right now what the plan was. Is Gruden going crazy? um, I don't know that Chucky has taken over his brain entirely, but I think that there's definitely going to be a lot of questions thrown at he and Mayock coming soon whenever we get the opportunity to talk to them, which I believe we will get that opportunity in the coming week here. But I'm sure there are going to be a lot of questions about why Hudson was released, though, that hasn't been made completely official yet as far as I've seen. I've been here talking for a bit, so I haven't been able to check my emails. I'm looking now to see um, or if the Raiders have tweeted anything. No, so it hasn't been made official, but I mean, Ian Rappaport's a very good source, so I doubt that he's just coming up with things out of nowhere. So, yeah, it's something that's really hard to wrap your mind around when he's been the anchor of that line, and it's going to be difficult for anybody to fill his shoes. And I think that if there's teams out there right now looking for a center, he's going to be a very picked up piece, I think, for other teams. He's going to be huge. The only thing I can say is that right now you're looking at a piece that has $6 million cap hit for the Raiders, and they were looking to free up some more money. That's the only sense I can make of why they would do that. So, if he was thinking of stepping away from the game, maybe that's another reason that he's released, but it really wasn't something that had been discussed or talked about. So, yeah, again, I know Raiders fans are having a hard time dealing with this. I'm seeing some more questions here. So, how is Gruden getting away with all these crazy offseason moves? Matt, Cooper, Hudson, and many more. Well, when you pay a guy what you had, and he brought the Raiders to become a Super Bowl team, though they eventually lost to his Tampa Bay Bucks. It something that I think they're trying to give him the opportunity and the chance to build the team that he thinks he needs, but Rodney Hudson, it's a tough one. Khalil Mack, I came to understand after you started to see the progress of a guy like Josh Jacobs out there on the field. But when you see the lack of defense that they've had in the past years, especially on pass rush, and a couple of seasons with super low numbers on sacks, I'm sure that that's frustrated fans beyond belief. I'm sure that that's something that everyone's aware that the Raiders will need solid defense to be able to get themselves to the playoffs. So overall, I think that that's a huge piece that they need to figure out. I think there's a step there with Yannick Ngakwe being brought in, but other pieces have yet to fall into place. So I think as we are all trying to show patience, I think the Raiders organization is showing patience with Gruden and the vision, trying to see what comes of it and what develops. Matt Hawk says the reason he's asking is it a good time to move to Vegas? He's a Cowboys fan, but might transfer to the Raiders if they're welcome with open arms. Well, you know, I gotta say, Raider Nation's accepted me here with open arms, and I gotta say, I appreciate that from all the fans and everybody out there that always comes up to us, says hi. Everything that we talk about here on the shows, a lot of people interact. I always am really happy to do that. So I can say they're a very welcoming fan base. Raider Nation is different than what you're used to, I'm sure, because Raider Nation is more of a family than it is anything else. And that's been the base. You talk to anybody, I talk to the Violator a lot. He's told me that everything about the Raiders is family. So come together with that thought in your mind, and you'll be in a good place if you're really thinking of moving and jumping on the Raiders pirate ship. All right, let's go in here now. So we're cutting. This is Raiders for Life. So now we're cutting Rodney Hudson on our offensive line. I'm starting to believe that John Gruden just came back to the Raiders to destroy it. I want to say, oh man, I'm trying to remember where I was. I think it was Houston or it might have been Minnesota, where I was a fan with the poster, and I believe he was a Raider fan of Gruden dressed up as Thanos from the Avengers. And he had on the glove, and it had Mac disappearing, it had Cooper disappearing, and it said, "Who's next?" So I know that's a thought that's been on a lot of Raiders fans' minds, and I can't imagine that on a day like today that it would be far from anybody else's mind. So it is disheartening, as T. Severe says, to see Hudson cut, probably the second smartest player on the team behind Carr. Yeah, I mean, and he had the credentials to prove it, like literal actual credentials from schools and colleges and things that he had accomplished with business and all of that. So, I mean, good for him to be able to do all of that through his football career. It's something I hope we start seeing Rodney Hudson promote more for other people and other NFL players who want to find their way into higher education that he can do. He's done it himself, so he's been somebody that's painted the portrait of what you want to be as a football player, not just on the field but off the field. All right, Raiders for life. This right here just makes me believe they're going to trade Derek Carr and fully restart everything. Yeah, I think they're really locked in right now with Derek Carr, but like you said, I mean, with everything happening, it's hard to see if that would be true. 100% because it seems like now with Rodney Hudson's being released that it's just there's nothing guaranteed. And apparently that is the question of the day. Why did we release Rodney Hudson? That coming from Tyler. Raiders for life. Rodney Hudson was better than Derek Carr. I mean, yeah, it's I can't even like I wrote on Twitter. I'm still trying to find the right sentence to say this with that. It's just very difficult right now, and I had to come on a trying time for Raider fans, and I know that it was less than 10 minutes ago, maybe 15 by now, that this happened. So I know everyone's still trying to make sense of it. Everyone's trying to cope with it. I haven't had the opportunity to speak with anyone else except I was talking with Tashawn Reed about it a little bit. We're going to probably talk with Vic Tafer from The Athletic as well about it. So, I know there are people I know in media that are tweeting things right now, like my guy Eddie Borsili. He just wrote, "What?" And that's all he could get out. Another guy, a friend of mine here, RJ Clifford, Rod says, Rod was the best player on the team, made the rest of the line better. This one hurts. Feels like losing Mac all over again, except without getting draft picks. I think, yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So, guys, I appreciate that I've been here with you today to try to walk you through it. And wait a minute, see too if anybody has any other questions for me, things you want to say, vent. Like I said, this is Raiders Therapy Hour with Heidi Fang. Please feel free to let it all go here. I'll help walk you through it the best I can. So if anybody else wants to comment, drop a question, please do. I'll wait a couple minutes. But just last things I wanted to get to. Just remember the positives. There was uh, there was the signing of Yannick Ngakwe, and maybe Kyle Long comes to the Raiders. So son of Howie, Raiders Hall of Famer. I think it'd be a good fit for the team to have somebody like him there, though it is concerning that he hasn't played since 2019. So that's something that I'm waiting to see if the Raiders announce that. Perhaps they do. I have heard things like he is going to come out and be able to maybe sign, work out with them. So we'll see how that works out for the team. But yeah, a tough day for Raiders fans. I feel for everybody here, and I hope that maybe today in this 15 minutes that I've been here speaking with you, that I have brought you some therapy and maybe some release for those of you who are coping with the Rodney Hudson release. But thank you everyone so much for joining me here today. I just want to take this minute to drop a couple things that I'm working on, things to keep an eye out for. Sam Gordon and I have been working on a project, and there will be a Jonathan Abram feature coming out soon. Keep an eye out on vegasnation.com for that, and also make sure to download the Vegas Nation app to keep up with everything we're doing. As for me, you can follow me on Twitter at Heidi Fang, Instagram at Heidi Fang. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Best of luck. We'll keep everything flowing on Twitter. Keep you updated with everything happening in free agency. All right, that'll do it for me today, guys. Thanks for watching.